The island fortress of Cair Andros, which guards Gondor's northernmost causeways over the River Anduin, is under siege. Battering rams rumble up the eastern causeway and rafts filled with orcs float across the river towards the lightly defended northern banks. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Line Unbroken, my progression-style playthrough series of the Lord of the Rings living card game. I'm playing Siege of Cair Andros in Nightmare mode for the second time. Hopefully it'll go a bit better this time. I've remembered to load my decks the correct way round this time. I don't know if that'll actually make a difference to the gameplay, but it'll at least mean that I can do this with the Control S shortcut when I'm using the wizard pipe with Gandalf. So, of course, if you want to hear about the details of some of this, you should just watch the start of the first video. The assault is relentless, and the defenders grow weary. The tide is slowly but surely turning against you. Siege, players must deal damage from undefended attacks to the lowest threat battleground location in play. If there are no battleground locations in play, immediately advance to the next stage. So, let's Control N. Begin the game. Alright, so I would like to get Gandalf's staff early on. Actually, holding a resource for secret paths could definitely be worth it, with the Citadel being 3 threat. The Ithilien Tracker early on could also be good. But okay, I think I'm just going to play Gandalf's staff, and then save the last resource for secret paths. Over here, obviously I can play a Gondorian shield for free, and then a Defender of Ramos for 2, and leave it at that. So, there is 6 threat in the staging area. We are siege questing. So let's siege quest for 3, 4, 7, 9, 15, 19. That might be a bit much. Maybe I could hold back Denethor. 16. Maybe I don't need the secret paths. But I think it's probably still better to be safe about it. So we'll go with 16 against 6. Orc Ravager. And Battering Ram, doomed 2. When revealed, if the active location is a battleground, it is not. So that's okay. We've added 5 threat. I make 5 progress, which is fine. That's definitely more than I need. I will immediately travel to the banks. Now, I do not have to engage the Battering Ram. I do have to engage the Ravager. When Orc Ravager is dealt a shadow card, it gets +2 defense until the end of the phase. Okay. And yeah, I'm really not in a position to deal with the Battering Ram at this point. So we'll just put the Orc Ravager over here. Gets +2 defense. Bjorn will be defending. I could just discard the shadow card using Gandalf's staff. That could be a decent idea. Just to avoid any possible annoyances, but I think I will take the risk. It's only 1 shadow. Discard an attachment you control. See, I should have discarded it. I could actually cancel this with a hasty stroke. Gondorian shield is pretty important. I'm going to cancel it. I think I've learned my lesson. I should not pass up opportunities to discard shadow cards. Denethor will take a look at the top card of the encounter deck. Orc Assault, that can go to the bottom of the encounter deck, for sure. Now, Gandalf's staff I'm going to use to add a resource somewhere. I think we're fine for tactics resources, so I'm going to add it to Denethor. That's it for the round. Control N. Okay, another good harvest. So obviously I'm just going to play this Winged Guardian and leave it at that. Over here, now this hidden cache on top of my deck is really of no use to me. Let's see, I could manage a Guildhall's Council at this point. That seems like a pretty good idea. If I were to Gandalf's Staff for another resource, I could get in with the Tracker or Glare Wine as well, or of course I could hold it back for another Secret Paths as a possibility. So I think maybe we'll do that. So I play nothing with this deck, but then in the quest phase, Guildhall's Council, there is 7 threat in the staging area. Quest obviously for 1, 3, 7, 11. Definitely want to get through the banks. We're only revealing 1 card. I need 3 progress. So I can calculate this fairly accurately. The highest threat of any card in this encounter deck is 5, as far as I recall. So I could end up with 12 threat. Of course I could cancel that 5 threat because it is a location. There may be some high threat enemies. If I get a high threat enemy, I can cancel the 3 threat of the Citadel. So if there's a 4 threat enemy, which I'm not sure there is, but if there is, then that would mean that with 11 defense I would still be able to get through the banks, but not get any more progress on the quest. I think this is okay. And this gives me more scope to potentially deal with enemies, so we'll try it. Another battering ram. If the active location is a battleground, deal 3 damage to it. That would, of course, destroy the banks. I do not have a test of will, and my entire strategy for this quest revolves around the banks not being destroyed. So, unfortunately, I will have to just reset the game at this point, because this... I'm pretty sure I can't manage going to stage 2. This was rather bad luck to just get a battering ram at this precise moment, because I think nothing else would actually have been a problem. But 3 damage all at once, the banks is immediately gone. So we're going to have to start again. Okay, so here we are again. Incidentally, I was actually thinking of taking a mulligan on this hand, looking for Gandalf's Staff, which of course is a fairly high priority for me. But then when I flipped over the top card here and saw Ranger Spikes, I thought, no, this is good to start with. And I do have a Master of the Forge, which will hopefully find me Gandalf's Staff that bit sooner. This hand, on the other hand, no Gondorian Shield this time, but that's less of a priority, as Beregond is not necessarily expected to be defending too much early on, and he still has 4 base defense. It's just for siege questing, and I do have a Winged Guardian for that. I also have a Feint and an Unexpected Courage. So yeah, this is should be a pretty good start. Control N. Then tracker there, and good harvest. Alright, so having just talked about the great value of the Ranger Spikes, I'm going to immediately play them. And that's obviously it for this deck. Over here, Winged Guardian. And that's it. So, quest for 3, 4, 6, 10, 14. Again, quite possibly too much. But let's go with it. Battering ram, again. Well, there's no active location. I get the Doomed 2. It will sit on the Ranger Spikes for the rest of the game. So Other unmounted archer. Archery 5 damage from each round's archery total may be assigned to battleground locations as well as characters. Alright, so that's 3 threat added. I make 5 progress. Travel to the banks. And of course I don't have to engage this archer, but I think I should, because I want him dead as soon as possible. So, deal a shadow card. Archery 5, but I can put it on battlegrounds as well as characters. I think I will definitely put some on the approach. Let's say 2 points on the approach. And then, okay, 3 points on the approach, and then 4, 5. Beyond defense, deal the attacking enemy 2 additional shadow cards. Deal 2 damage to the approach if it is in play. And attacking enemy gets +1 for each shadow card dealt to it. So that's a total of +3. So 7 attack. That's unfortunate. Bjorn can't quite kill it, but almost. Denethor will take a look at the top of the encounter deck. Orc Ravager. That's not too bad. I'll leave it there. Control N. Test of Will. Very welcome sight. Though I might want this Unexpected Courage right away. Of course I do have a feint available. Let's play the Vassal of the Wind Lord. I think, yeah. And leave it at that, unless, well, okay, so I know the first card is an enemy, 3 threat. So what I have to consider is how concerned I am about the possibility that the second card of staging will be a treachery, which I would want to cancel. Or, I suppose, another battering ram. But I just saw one go as a shadow card. There's one here. I think the odds are pretty reasonable. So I could potentially play this Unexpected Courage instead of saving for a Test of Will. Just to hopefully get a foothold over the encounter deck. I'll do that, Unexpected Courage on Barragond. Now, of course, if I play... Okay, so I can play Secret Paths from the top of my deck using Gandalf's resource. One of Gandalf's resources, rather. This Athelian Tracker would be useful. I know it would cancel the 3 threat of the enemy that is the first card I'm revealing. Currently there is 5 threat in the staging area. I do want to get this Master of the Forge working for me, but I think we prioritize getting the game properly under control first. So, okay, quest phase. I exhaust the Athelian Tracker, and then request for, let's see, 1, 3, 7, 11. I know the first card will effectively not contribute threat. So if the card after that is 3 threat or less, I will explore the banks with just this. I do have the option of Secret Paths. I think that's reasonable. So this guy does not count as threat. Sea Draft. Deal 2 damage to the lowest threat battleground location in play if able. That's fine, 2 damage. That's 3 threat added. So I make 3 progress, and the banks goes to the victory display. So that is completely fine. Stage 2 of the quest does not exist as far as I'm concerned. So that's that sorted out. I will travel to the Citadel, get that out of the staging area. I now have 2 more enemies I need to deal with. I am past the engagement cost for both of them. Only just, thanks to Pippin boosting them by 1, but I am still past it. Okay. So we have a 3 attack and a 4 attack. I do have some reasonable options for defending. Though Bjorn is, of course, short on hit points. So yeah, actually, I probably don't actually want to risk Bjorn defending anything at this point. He can kill something. Let's see, it would take 7 to kill the Sea Draft. It would also take 7 to kill the Orc Ravager because it gets a shadow card which boosts its defense. In theory, I could manage 7. Like this. So, if we make sure to engage like this. And yeah, I can make this work. So, there is still Archery 5. I'm going to put a couple of points on the Athelian Tracker, I think. Actually, no, I'm going to put all 5 points on the Citadel. Because the Citadel will hopefully not be around for too much longer, because I plan to explore it, whereas the Athelian Tracker will still be here later on, and so he'll still have all his hit points to take other bits of archery damage. So now, I want to play this Feint on Sea Draft. So the Sea Draft does not attack. Baragond should defend one of these. He will defend the 4 attack. Deal 2 damage to the Citadel if it's in play. Okay. And now, okay, so I could actually risk taking this on Bjorn. He could be okay. Or I could take it undefended on Frodo, which would be safer, but obviously involves a threat boost. I think I'm going to have to go with the safer option of Frodo. Okay, so Bjorn would have been alright, but I'll hopefully have that option again later when I can be more secure about shadow effects if I have a hasty stroke or Gandalf's staff to just discard the shadow card. So I just raise my threat by 3. Now, Bjorn will, of course, kill the guy with archery first. And then we attack 3, 4, 7. And kill the Sea Draft as well. Vassal of the Windlord is discarded after the attack. We just have this 1 enemy engaged. I can't scry the encounter deck with Denethor, but that's okay. Control N. Ancient Madam, not immediately useful. Okay, so at this point I should definitely play Glaewine off the top of my deck, I think. Yeah. Gildor's Council. Okay, I think I may want to play that off the top of my deck once we get into the quest phase, which means not playing anything else. This Master of the Fort should eventually hit the table, but Gildor's Council, pretty big deal. So Glaewine will exhaust to have this deck draw another card. Another Winged Guardian is very welcome. More siege questing power. Especially since I'm now at an 11 quest point active location. So, there is 2 threat in the staging area. I'm going to play Gildor's Council. I'm going to exhaust the Athelian Tracker. Quest for 3, 4, 6, 10, 14, 18. That's actually kind of overkill. So maybe we hold back Gandalf or Baragond. We hold back Gandalf, then I should still be making 13 progress. I suppose I could reveal a high threat location, but that's not actually too big an issue if I do. So yeah, let's go with this. Oh, Orc Assault. Each character gets -2 attack and -2 defense until the end of the round. So, okay. That means I lose defense to the tune of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 from my questing. But that's it. That's all the difference it makes for questing, and of course that was the only card I revealed, so I don't think I want to bother cancelling it. I still make 4 progress. Now of course, the defense and attack penalty still applies, so Baragond will defend. He's only 2 defense right now, but that's still only 1 damage. Bjorn is 3 attack against 3 defense because of the shadow cards, so he can't do anything. Denethor will take a look at the top card of the encounter deck. Southron support can definitely go to the bottom of the encounter deck. And Control N. Hasty Stroke is very welcome. Let's use Glare-Wine for this deck. Another Hasty Stroke. I'm going to put the Ancient Matham on the Citadel. And now look over here. Okay. So, Master of the Forge and Warden of Healing are definitely looking like very good ideas for me to get into play. Of course, I could get this Envoy of Pelargir. So let's play the Envoy of Pelargir from the top of my deck and add the resource back to Denethor. Okay, Expert Treasure Hunter. I'm going to take the Master of the Forge first. So now I can search the top 5 cards of my deck, grab the Expert Treasure Hunter, shuffle, and then play Expert Treasure Hunter onto Pippin. So this deck should speed up a lot at this point. Once again, there's 2 threat in the staging area. I have no knowledge about what I'm revealing. I want 7 progress. So 12, ignoring the first enemy, 13. Yeah, maybe I do want to hold back Frodo. I'm not sure. I think just going for 13 should be reasonable. Reveal another Orc Assault. Okay, so this time, because I'm revealing another card, I will actually cancel it. And an Orc Ravager, which does not contribute its threat, so I make 11 progress. Which means I advance the quest as well as exploring the Citadel. So, okay, this goes to the victory display. I advance the quest. With a crashing boom, the eastern gate shatters. A ram has broken through, and the pressing host of orcs pour into the courtyard beyond. Engage them in hand-to-hand combat and secure the gate. Battle questing. And after we quest unsuccessfully, instead of raising a threat, each player must choose and discard 1 character he controls. And of course, this Ancient Matham triggers. So this deck draws another 3 cards. Nice. Okay, now I suppose I should still... Okay, I'm not entirely sure about this possible interaction. So after the approach leaves play as an explored location, remove stage 3 from the quest deck if able. Well, incidentally, I should remove stage 4. There will be no Orc Scramblers. So it says after the approach leaves play as an explored location, remove stage 3 from the quest deck if able. I'm not sure if this still counts as being in the quest deck when I've already revealed it. Obviously, it's very clear if you explore the approach while you are still on stage 1 or stage 2. Now, at this point, the approach has 7 quest points. The quest also has 7 quest points, but the approach has 2 threat. So, if exploring this would still allow me to just remove the quest stage and immediately advance to stage 5, then it would be worthwhile for me to travel to it. Because I would go through the same number of quest points, but I would have less threat in the staging area. However, if that doesn't work, then I would just be giving myself more quest points to deal with, and potentially depriving myself of... Well, I suppose it's not much of a potential damage sink at this point. So I guess I'll just travel to it anyway, because I could probably do with spending a bit more time powering up before hitting stage 5. I will of course trigger Expert Treasure Hunter, since Pippin quested successfully, so I name Ally, so I discard Glare Wine and then add him to my hand, because I named correctly. And so I have to deal with this Orc Ravager. So I think, do I want him over here actually? I could do a bit of damage. I suppose it would possibly go quicker this way. So let's try it. Deal out shadow cards. Frodo will defend this one. Choose one. Either attacking enemy makes an additional attack after this one, or deal 10 damage to a battleground location. I will deal the damage. So the approach is removed from the game. I do not collect its victory points. So my whole debate about whether or not to travel to it turned out to be moot, but it's still fine. And now, of course, Denethor will defend over here as a sentinel. This enemy attacks again after this attack resolves. Deal a new shadow card. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a resource for my hasty stroke because I spent it on a test of will. And this Orc Ravager is now up to 5 defense, since it gets +2 each time it's dealt a shadow card. It got +2 for the first one, it just got another +2, so it's up to 5 defense. So I can't actually deal any damage to it, which means I may as well just defend with Gandalf. He takes no damage. This Orc Ravager only has 3 defense, so Bjorn can attack for 5 and deal 2 damage. Denethor can, of course, take a look at the top card of the encounter deck for me. Anduin Wharf. If it has 6 or more damage, discard and reveal 2 cards, so I don't want it to be destroyed. While it's the active location, allies cost 1 additional matching resource. I think I'm pretty okay with seeing that. So we will leave it. And okay, this is fantastic. Wizard Pipe and Gandalf's Staff. This is everything that I want. I'll exhaust Glare Wine, so this deck can draw an extra card. Let me just check. The Anduin Wharf is, yes, it's 3 threat. So I know that I will have 3 threat plus whatever the second card of staging is. I am now battle questing, which I am less good at, especially since I actually used my Vassal of the Windlord to attack, and therefore it's not there anymore. But, okay, so let's see. The Wizard Pipe is obviously a good idea. These Dunedain warnings are less significant since I'm not siege questing. I would like the Warden of Healing in play. So let's immediately, I think, play the Wizard Pipe. I want Gandalf's Staff, really, if I can get it. But if I want to prioritize the Warden of Healing, I mean, I don't know, maybe I just keep postponing the Warden of Healing, get the Staff. Yeah, I think I definitely just want the Staff, so... Yeah, so we're just going to play the Staff from the top of the deck. And that'll be that for that deck. Actually, I suppose I will also use my Master of the Forge. I suppose if I'd looked first, I might have gone for the Ranger Spikes first, but let's take the second Expert Treasure Hunter. There's another set of Ranger Spikes, so I'll get them next round. Play Expert Treasure Hunter onto Gandalf now. Over here... Alright, let me just... Gandalf's going to need more attachment space. So, I definitely want to play a Good Harvest, Spirit, and then pay 2 for Unexpected Courage on Gandalf. I would like to save a Spirit Resource for Hasty Stroke, so I guess I'll just play this Westfold Outrider. Landreval obviously would be nice, but he's kind of expensive. Envoy of Pelagir also potentially a thing, but I wanted to prioritize getting the Unexpected Courage, getting the extra action out of Gandalf so he can definitely be questing and potentially also help out somehow in combat. And the Westfold Outrider has more attack than the Envoy does. So, of course there is no threat in the staging area. I know the first card is a 3. Potentially I can use Gandalf's Staff to gain a resource with which to play Secret Paths. So, this should be okay. I can quest with 2. I could actually quest with Bjorn for another 5, but I would like to actually kill my enemies. Let's cancel the threat of the first enemy. So, 2, 3... 6, 7. Yeah, I am clearly much worse at battle questing than I was at siege questing, which means I definitely want to hang around here a bit longer and hopefully get some more attack power on the table before advancing to stage 5, which will also be a battle quest since I have 4 victory points. Anduin Wolf. And Orc Saboteur does not count its threat. So I'm making 4 progress. Damage dealt by Orc Saboteur's attacks must be assigned to a battleground location in play if able. Okay. So this will increase the cost of my allies, but I definitely want to go to it regardless. And I suppose I want this guy here. Deals shadow cards. Now let's see. Bjorn could take a hit here. I could discard a shadow card. Oh! Expert Treasure Hunter. 2 copies of Expert Treasure Hunter. So of course I can draw 2 cards. effectively. Yeah, I could discard a Shadow card with Gandalf's Staff. I also have a Hasty Stroke available. So Bjorn could definitely take a hit. Now, which hit do I want him to take? I suppose Beregond could defend both of these, and Bjorn could defend this one, or whichever way around. So I think that's a good way to go. Bjorn defends this. Actually, there is no use for my Winged Guardians anymore. We're not going to be siege questing again. So they are only here as defenders. They have no other stats. So I can bear that in mind. But I think, at the very least, Bjorn is going to defend this. 2 damage. Okay, +2 attack. Well, I will have to burn that Hasty Stroke right away. Bjorn will therefore take 2 damage. Now I will use a Winged Guardian on the Orc Saboteur. His enemy attacks again after... Oh, I could have discarded a Shadow card. But, I didn't. So... additional attack. And of course that dealt 1 damage, so... Oh, of course, that's a thing. The 1 damage... Yes, technically the 1 damage was dealt to the Anduin Wharf. It didn't kill the Winged Guardian, but now the Winged Guardian has to be discarded unless I pay a Tactics Resource, which I could actually do. Because I could use Gandalf's Staff to add a Tactics Resource to Beregond, and then spend it to keep the Winged Guardian in play. More defenders in play could be handy. Or not. I mean, of course I do have a bunch of spare defenders, so... I don't know. I'll let this one go. I may consider it for the second one. Now, let me... After Frodo Baggins is damaged. Okay, so I can't use this to avoid the damage going on the wharf by converting it into threat. So I need a high defense character for this. So I will use Winged Guardian again. Plus X attack, where X is the amount of damage on the active location, so 1. Okay, so there'll be 2 more damage, and I am actually going to exhaust Gandalf's Staff to add a resource and spend it to keep the Winged Guardian in play. And now Beregond will defend against this Ravager. Exhaust a character you control, deal attacking enemy another shadow card. So I exhaust Beregond, deal another shadow card. If this attack destroys a character, it does not. Okay, so... I really wish Gandalf was ranged at this point. I could attack with Gandalf and Denethor and do 1 damage. I should have just used Gandalf to defend, probably. Denethor to scry the encounter deck. I have 6 attack, which is not enough to kill the Orc Saboteur. Nor is it enough to kill the Ravager. So I guess I will go for the Saboteur. And over here, I realise that obviously I'm doing this out of order, but this one I know what I'm doing. Here, I don't know that the 1 damage is going to be significant, so I think I would rather take a look at this. Another Orc Saboteur. I mean, if I explore this location, it's not a problem, but I think I would rather sink that card. And so there we go. Control N, new round. Oh, actually, no, hang on. I'm going to play Ranger Spikes. So let me just look at the bottom card here that I just put there. Put it back on the top. And this deck draws a Defender of Rammas. And Glare-Wine draws this deck a Feint. A Feint is definitely a welcome sight. Here in the resource phase, I will play Daeron's Runes, discarding a spare copy of Glare-Wine. So I still have use of Gandalf's ability in the planning phase. I'll use the Master of the Forge to grab this fast hitch and shuffle the deck. Warden of Healing. Haven't been taking a lot of damage except on Bjorn. Okay, I think I really would like to get this Defender of Rammas into play. Have more defenses available. And I think that's going to be it. Over here, Ranger Spikes is the big thing that I want. So we're going to play the Ranger Spikes, and I am going to use the Wizard Pipe to put the hidden cache on top of my deck. Now, okay, so there's one other thing I could do. I could play a Dwarven Tomb to get back a Test of Will, and then use Gandalf's Staff to give Frodo another resource to potentially play that Dwarven Tomb. But I think I would rather save Gandalf's Staff to either discard a Shadow card, or give an extra Tactics resource to play the Feint. I feel like that may be more valuable at this juncture. So, no threat in the staging area. Quest for 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, I do want to kill these. No. 6. I would like to explore this location if possible. 8, 9. Reveal, of course, an Orc Saboteur, which goes on the Ranger Spikes, and Ruin and Wrath. Doomed 2, deal 2 shadow cards to each enemy, and play deal 2 damage to each battleground location in play. Okay. Doomed 2. This is a problem. This is the defense boost is until the end of the phase, so that it won't matter. But maybe I should have gotten my Test of Will. And 2 damage to each battleground. And I've added no threat to the staging area, so I'm making 9 progress, which will actually advance the quest as well as exploring this location, which I kind of don't want, but I don't have a choice. So, there we go. I don't know technically the sequence. Technically, questing successfully and placing progress are separate steps, but I'm not sure if I actually get to trigger Expert Treasure Hunter in that gap, or if it happens after. I don't think it matters. Point is, the hidden cache, because of how Expert Treasure Hunter is phrased, you discard the card and then add it to your hand if it is the type you named. So I name event, I discard the hidden cache, thus gaining 2 resources, and then add it to my hand. And then the same for Daeron's Runes. We advance the quest. The defenders of Cair Andros have survived brunt upon brunt of the enemy's assault, but the outcome of the battle hangs on the edge of a knife. One last heroic effort is required to save the fortress and win the victory. Siege. When revealed, reveal one card per player from the encounter deck and add it to the staging area. If the players have collected 4 or more victory points, the last battle gains battle and loses siege, which of course is kind of frustrating for me because I would be rather better at siege questing. So, I have to reveal another couple of cards. An Orc Arsonist and Ruined Wrath again. Another Doomed 2. And a load more shadow cards. Oh, hang on. No, hang on. It's each enemy in play, not just the ones engaged. So we should have this from the previous copy of Ruin and Wrath, and then the cards I reveal were the Walls of Cair Andros and the Lieutenant of Mordor. When revealed, resolve the when revealed effect on the topmost treachery card in the encounter discard pile. If able, this effect cannot be cancelled. And that would be Ruin and Wrath. So, 2 damage to the Walls of Cair Andros. And technically, there is no... I don't know if there is any specific ruling about if you have to deal shadow cards to an enemy in the staging area, well, enemies in the staging area, and potentially at the same time as you're dealing shadow cards to engaged enemies or not, what order you do it in. Because, of course, for engaged enemies, it is clearly established. You go in player order and then in engagement cost order. But if there are enemies in the staging area, it's not really specified. And actually, for that matter, the player order engagement cost order is technically only specified for dealing shadow cards naturally at the beginning of the combat phase. Other attacks, other dealing of shadow cards is not specifically covered by the rules as far as I am aware. So I'm going to interpret it to my advantage and deal the shadow cards here. And, oh look. Okay, the deck didn't quite run out, but now it's run out. Look at that. The encounter deck is empty. I was furiously pressing Control S there and no more shadow cards. Actually, I could have... Yeah, so we'll have it like that. I will, of course, travel to the Walls of Cair Andros. And I will have to engage the Lieutenant of Mordor. Here, I think. I will play Darren's Runes. Discard this Master of the Forge. So, okay. Exhaust Gandalf's Staff to gain a resource with which I can play Feint. Which enemy do I want to feint? I think I want to feint the Orc Saboteur. It's 5 attack, and it will damage the battleground location here. Now, these two guys are only at their base defense of 1, because their defense boost is granted until the end of the phase, and their shadow cards were dealt during the quest phase, not the combat phase. Because we then ran out the encounter deck by the end of the quest phase. So, they are pretty killable at this point. Well, actually, no, I can't kill this one, because I don't have enough attack power on this side of the table. I could kill this one with just Bjorn. I could also kill the Orc Saboteur, of course. Or potentially the Lieutenant of Mordor. Okay, so the Lieutenant of Mordor cannot be defended by allies, so Baragon will have to do it. Okay, he takes 1 damage. Now, yeah, if I want this guy dead, then I would have to either take this undefended on Frodo or defend it with the Winged Guardian. I think I will defend it with the Winged Guardian. Taking the opportunity to kill the Lieutenant seems like a good idea. Either attacking enemy makes an additional attack after this one or deal 10 damage to a battleground location. I will deal the 10 damage. So if Walls of Cair Andros has 4 or more damage, discard it, and each player must assign 4 damage among characters he controls. It's annoying, but 1, 2. Can I separate these and go 3, 4? Or would I have to... I think I might have to take both points as threat. It works either way. And over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Over here, Gandalf will defend. Deal 2 damage to the Citadel, otherwise +2 attack. And nothing. I do have a hasty stroke. I could have cancelled this +2 attack, but I didn't. So, we attack for 7 and kill the Lieutenant of Mordor. Scry. Well, no, there is no encounter deck, so that's that. All these shadow cards also get discarded. Control N. New round. At this point, okay, I will play the Gondorian Shield. This is going out of order. This deck is first player. Okay, so I mean, this certainly could be the time for the Warden of Healing. I am going to exhaust the Master of the Forge. Let's grab that fast hitch. Envoy of Pelargir. See, if I could find my last copy of Gildor's Council, that would be great. Oh no, even my second copy of Gildor's Council. It was the previous attempt where I played another one. Because I think I possibly want to consider just going all out questing here and see if I can just quest to victory and not have to deal with these enemies. I might be able to deal with the enemies, but it's potentially simpler if I don't. Well, it is simpler if I don't, and that might be something I could actually manage. So, with that being the case, I think I'm going to use Glare-Wine to draw another card. Okay, I could use Gandalf's Staff to draw another card. Still hoping for that Gildor's Council. Okay, so let's take a look at what I want to play over here. Obviously, if I were to use Gandalf's Staff to send an extra resource over here and play a good Harvest, I could play Landroval. That would be a definite option, actually. It would allow me to defend... I mean, he's 3 attack for questing, and then if I get to combat, I could kill Bjorn and bring him back with Landroval with most of his hit points again, so he could defend a bunch more stuff. That would be a pretty solid approach. Of course, there is still the option of retrieving my Test of Will. As well, that's also a thing I can do. I can play the Envoy of Pelargir for just 1 more point of attack. So, I don't know, maybe I do want to just be a bit more normal. Maybe save the Land Reval option for next round. How much can I battle quest for at the moment? 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 13. Okay, so I don't think it's possible, really, for me. I mean, 14, 15. It could be possible for me to get through just immediately. I don't think the chances are great, but actually no, the chances could be pretty good. So the question is, to what extent I want to just completely bank on that. I think I'm willing to bank pretty hard on that. So we're going to Dwarven Tomb the Test of Will, because Orc Assault is something that could totally screw this over for me. Screw this up for me. Screw me over. And well, let's play another Envoy of Pelargir. Add a resource to Denethor. And let's use Gandalf's Staff to draw another card. Okay. No Gildor's Council. But I have 5 lore resources here. If I can save 2 for Secret Paths, then that gives me pretty good chances. So then I can pay 1 for Hennemoth, and 2 for another Ithilien Tracker. And over here I pay 2 for an Envoy of Pelargir, add the resource back to Beregond. Okay, so battle questing. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, ignoring the first enemy. 10, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20. Against 0 threat. First enemy doesn't count. I have 2 copies of Secret Paths. Anduin Wharf. Orc War Camp. Okay, that's 8 threat added. I only actually need 1 copy of Secret Paths, but I'll play both of them. So we go back down to 0 threat, and I make 20 progress. And there we go, and I win the game. So yeah, that was still, it was not really how I was expecting things to go exactly. I never entirely got things under control, but it was, I was able to keep going for long enough to get over the finish line before things really spiraled out of my control. I suppose if things had been going on for longer, I did have options. Obviously, the whole Land Reval thing, I think eventually I would have managed to, well, I certainly think I could have eventually killed off these enemies. This one would have been more of a problem. Didn't have so much attack power on this side of the table, and of course I wanted to use it for questing. But there were still possibilities. This certainly was a more representative run at the quest than both my test play unrecorded and the previous attempt, as I got a mixture of enemies and locations rather than just all one type of card. Being able to use Denethor to sink things like Orc Assault and Southron Support made a huge difference, of course. Yeah, that was very nice. So that completes the Nightmare Heirs of Numenor, we now continue into the Against the Shadow cycle, which has a lot of interesting different takes on the old quests in store. So I hope you'll enjoy those. If you enjoyed this, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.